weird experiences the last couple of days, mostly in reference to YouTube. First off, the thing I did on Gaza and walls, don't know if you people saw that, but I was kind of surprised actually. I thought it was a decent video and all, but generally speaking, my videos don't go up 500 views overnight. So the other day I did a little bit of research as to why that had occurred, and found out that it had been posted to this Iranian website. And I guess that's where a lot of the traffic was coming from. But even stranger, and this is explaining the title, is I actually, some snippets of one of my videos appeared in a feature that was done on CNN recently by Jeanne Moos. And I'm going to post a link up in the sidebar. Not that there's a whole lot there, and certainly if you saw my Mad at Madoff video, you saw all the little bits that she was using. What I thought was interesting actually about seeing this, aside from the sheer freakiness of thinking of myself being on national television and even being bleeped out, because the whole point of her little feature was kind of just a survey of the anger regarding the Madoff scandal. And so, not surprising that she found and used my video, considering that if she did a quick search that just said Mad plus Madoff, it probably would have been the first hit that she got. Excuse me. But what I thought was, interesting, if not terribly surprising, was just how incredibly superficial the whole piece was. It seemed like there was really no point to the people, being angry about, Madoff. There was no evaluation as to whether this kind of anger was justified or not. And I'm not particularly proud that if I had to have a video that, got on national television, that's certainly not the one I would have picked, except for the fact that, it certainly would have been fun if the two important ideas in that video had actually made it onto national television. But of course, those ideas that were there are not going to be part of any kind of coverage. And the two things that I really wanted to get across in that video were the fact that Madoff was considered one of the most trusted people on Wall Street. And at the very end of the video, I'm very clearly making the point that if this is the best that Wall Street has to offer, then you better be really worried about the person that you've invested your financial future with, because you have no friends on Wall Street. You have none. The other point that I make, which nobody in the mainstream media is going to want to get anywhere near, is the whole sense of there was this organization called the Securities and Exchange Commission, and that they were getting warnings as early as 10 years prior about Madoff and the fact that there was no way for him in bull and bear markets to be plunking down the same enormous and highly consistent returns. There's just no way they could do it. And the SEC had been getting those warnings for a long time. So my other point in there was that you have this whole system which basically did nothing to protect the investors that Madoff had, and they were supposed to. They had plenty of information. They should have been able to figure it out for themselves, but they had tips anyway telling them that Madoff was doing this, and nothing happened. So you have this enormous, once again, systemic failure. But that's not going to make it into Jeanne Moos's little feature about anger at Madoff, because just like with the Iraq or with 9/11, the questions that we were asking were so retarded. It's like, why do they hate us? They don't want to get to root causes. They don't want to get to the source. So they'll focus on this very superficial level, of the anger that people have about, the situation. And don't treat it like it has any validity, and not look at any of the deeper problems that this signifies. And it all becomes a way of trivializing the whole thing and making sure that we don't ask the right questions. So it was funny because I told my kids about this, and they were looking for me to be more excited about it than I was. It's like, and I was trying to come up with a word for it. It's like, so, I don't know. They were asking me how I felt about it. And it's like, I was saying, I don't know. It was kind of, and like my daughter was like, awesome? It's like, no. Because in the final analysis, even though nothing happened that I wouldn't have expected to happen, it's still kind of troubling that this thing that I did, which was in service of the truth, as I saw it at least, and dealt with, despite the anger of that video, it dealt with some real and substantive elements. But of course, the second that it intersects with the mainstream media, all of that, nuance and analysis is stripped away, and it gets back to the only things that, the media can focus on, which is this kind of really basic, really stupid anger. So there you go. That's my analysis. And it was probably less than 10 seconds. So I'm still owed 14 minutes and 50 seconds of fame. Hopefully the rest of it will go a little bit better. Anyway, this is Zach Elliott at Feel Free to Argue.